Hey folks, welcome back. This is Chris in Central Pennsylvania, and some warning and advice for South African refugees coming to the United States, and some reassurances. First off, I've never had a problem like this ever. Many times I've visited South Africa, but it apparently has occurred to some people, and it's happening to a lot of white South Africans in particular who are now leaving South Africa and those coming back. I've heard of abuse by immigration officials of South Africans coming back to South Africa in the past few days, saying, "What are you doing back here? Why don't you just F off and go back to your refugee status in America?" These are South Africans who live in South Africa. This is a racial insult and a racial attack. Consider it nothing else. Why would you say that to a white South African returning home from a trip abroad? It's shameful and it's disgusting. Now, this has never happened to me either. I've never had an employee of an airline intentionally try to weigh down my bag and make it weigh more than it is. We have an anecdotal story here of refugees who arrived in the past couple of days who went to the airport and they'd weighed their bags before they had arrived, and one bag was 5 kgs under the weight limit. So what happened was suddenly it went on the scale and it was over the weight limit, and they tried to charge them $100 for the flight. Now, $100 is a charge that a particular airline uses, and I don't know, I'm not accusing the employees, but I understand anecdotally that the folks involved aren't stupid, and instead of paying $100, opened their suitcase, took out things that could carry on the person and put it on the person, and then when it was clear that this money wasn't going to be fleeced from innocent people, the airline attendants who were at the check-in counter reluctantly put the bag through. So that's never happened to me. I've seen it happen in other African countries elsewhere in the past, but not in South Africa. So just be aware of that, folks. If you got one of those little handheld scales, take that bad boy and make sure your bags are weighed. But what happened is that they saw that the person that was telling them they were overweight put their knee down on the scale to push the weight down and push it over the weight limit. So just some friendly advice. Be careful of that. If you go to the airport, make sure you watch your bags when they go on the scale and look at the scale. Okay? All right? Before someone gets a chance to put their leg on it. Don't know that it happened, but the allegation's there. But I can confirm that people have been mistreated and abused. Now, these people who came over in the past few days also were being harassed by people at the airport, the check-in counter, giving them a hard time, trying to give them difficult status. But there was a U.S. government representative present with them, and that person had a government identification badge on, and when that was shown and they came up to the counter, the misbehavior stopped. So to reassure you, if you come over here as a refugee, you are likely to have some representative of the U.S. government with some sort of authority who will be at the airport to ensure that you get smoothly through check-in and through security before you go to your gate. And they'll probably stay at the airport until your flight is in the air. That would be my expectation. So just a little bit of advice on that. Also, the refugees who came in the last couple days are doing quite well. Understand more on the way. And this is making it virtually impossible for the news media and for those leaking information about the folks to do so. Refugee program is continuing. More people are coming over here and they're arriving in the United States. For those who are refugees who come to America who follow my analysis and my views on how the program worked and how to do it, well, good luck to you, and thank you for listening to me and trusting me, because my analysis was spot on, and you don't know me from Adam, so I appreciate that you actually trusted that. If you're here in the United States and you'd like to contact me, get the email address, or if you're in one of the groups, write to me. I can do interviews if you'd like, if it's of interest, to tell about your experience. It'll help other people who come over from South Africa, whites, coloreds, and Indians, and even some blacks who may qualify for this program, come over to the States. You may be helping those folks out, reassuring them and letting them know about your experience. We can do it anonymously if you are a refugee. If you'd like to speak to other media, many media outlets are in touch with me. And if you trust me, I can put you in touch with them if you want. No pressure. No one needs headaches when they get here. There's plenty to do when you arrive here to get yourself settled. The good news for those coming over as refugees with children who are school age, it's summer. School is over, or it ends in early June for most schools in the United States and doesn't pick up again until August, September. So if you come in June, July, and August, your kids aren't going to miss anything. They're going to be able to go right into school wherever you settle in the United States. All right, so just wanted to share some of those things with you. For refugees being harassed at the airport by airline employees, I wasn't there, so I can't confirm it. I'm taking the word of someone who shared that with me. anecdotally, but it's not beyond the realm of possibility. But I can tell you that South Africans are being harassed by racist customs and immigration officials when they go back to South Africa with menacing and threatening comments. And this bigotry and racism is picking up across South Africa, and it's not shocking, but it is disturbing because most South Africans aren't racist, most aren't bigots, just a handful of people. But I think that some South African officials are quickly realizing that their tax base is melting before their eyes as human capital flees the country because of their policies and their laws, which have discriminated against South African minorities for far too long. You don't, as Ernie L. say, correct a mistake by repeating the same mistake. You don't correct an injustice by perpetrating an injustice. And that's what's going on here. And people want to deny it. At least the National Party never denied apartheid, but the ANC denies their racist laws. And they get the likes of condom-wearing pseudo-journalists and radio commentators to go on Piers Morgan and lie about it. Be captured. Be captured. Anyway, folks, good luck to you. Cheers.